I think that the consumer population in India in particular, possibly true for other emerging economies, has become much more sophisticated because they have much more access to knowledge through the exponential rise in access to the net and mobile phones and that kind of thing. So I think that there are some trends that have been shown already over the last 5 years maybe in increasing levels of awareness across the board with consumer populations in India. So whether we can make that assumption that your B2B customers are likely to be better informed, I'm not so sure yet at the moment. I think that may have changed quite radically over the last a few years. There are a number of different factors that play a role in why that has been so phenomenally successful. I think the latest figures were something like $18 billion per year for the Indian market alone. And that's not taking into other places like the Philippines, for example, who also have their own very successful ITES industries. Of course, it's economically favorable to be in countries, or at least it was, when the industry first took off, perhaps less so now than it was then. Clearly, the levels of English that are available play a role. Countries like India, like the Philippines, that for historical reasons have high levels of English available to the workforce. Also, high levels of education, high levels of technical expertise also. There's been a very recent development that in addition to the BPO industry, what's called the KPO industry, so knowledge process outsourcing, particularly to do with legal processing, has really mushroomed in India in particular in the last month, more or less. Why? Because of the economic meltdown, particularly in the US. So India is now processing a lot of what's happening for the United States in terms of terminations, in terms of liquidations of corporations. A lot of that work is being handled now here. An Indian lawyer costs about 1/10 of the cost of a US lawyer. But Indian lawyers are great because they've all been to college in English. So they've studied in English. Indian law is generally in English. A lot of it is based originally on British common law, but then with elements of other European laws and US law. So there is a highly specialized knowledge and many Indian lawyers that are able to deal with this kind of